New details in a police investigation involving a suspicious device found near Pitt State campus. Plus, help is coming to Kansas communities facing high energy bills and why you may not need an appointment to get the COVID vaccine at Mercy Hospital.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Chance of rain today, but a clear, warm, and sunny weekend lies ahead of us. Here's Michael with a check on your forecast.
Yeah, got to get past this first. Here's what we got on our Friday morning from the Skywatch Storm Tracker. It's been very, very light, just raindrops equating to the light green right there, but we're picking up some action out here on the western part of southeast Kansas. Everything moving from west to east. Haven't had any lightning, and we won't have any threat of anything severe, nor will we have any flooding concerns, as ground's been pretty dry of late, but it's going to stick around here for the next several hours. Temperatures very, very comfortable for this time of March. 54 in Joplin, 51 in Parsons. Let's roll 50s up in Nevada and in Stockton. Here is that low pressure system. This is the one that worked in off the Pacific coast right there. And so very rarely do we talk about, hey, it made its way all the way here from the west coast. You know, usually it'll break up over the Rockies. It'll combine with some Gulf moisture or anything. So now that thing stayed pretty organized. Not too bad. When weather trending full today, like I said, all the way into early afternoon hours. But after that, we even get a little break. Maybe see some sunshine there before it's all said and done, because as it dissipates for the afternoon, boom, look at everything dive off to the south and a clear overnight. Tanya was talking about a gorgeous March weekend, and that's indeed exactly what we have. We'll be back in the 60s with plenty of sunshine for Saturday and Sunday. Then already turning our attention to Wednesday and Thursday, where we've got some midweek thunderstorm activity. But like I said, that's not until next week. Tanya?
All right, thank you, Michael. The Pittsburgh Police Department releases new details about a suspicious device found Wednesday near Pitt State. Pitt State Police found the device on the 1500 block of Joplin Street, and later the Kansas Highway Patrol's hazardous device unit left with the device. Yesterday, they say they were able to dismantle it and found it contained a small amount of incendiary components. Pieces of the device have been sent to a lab to look for further evidence. City of Purcell, Missouri has money problems, and because of that, important projects have gone undone, and some former city workers are without a job. Also, the mayor pro tem says a previous council member may have tampered with important information at town hall. The state of Missouri is auditing the city because of all of the issues. Issues were brought up in a council meeting last night. Residents say they don't feel things are moving in the right direction.
Until we have a board that says this is what we're doing, this is our agenda, and lays it out. Right now, there's no physical evidence that proves we're moving forward. There's no momentum. It's more of, well, I said I'm doing it, and that's all you need to know at the moment.
Missouri American Water was at the meeting requesting a ballot measure so residents can vote for MAW to make the repairs. The city voted to draft an ordinance concerning that request. That ordinance will be discussed at the next meeting. Kansas governor signs legislation to provide relief for cities facing high natural gas bills. The state has created a $100 million low-interest loan program for cities facing high utility bills after February's winter weather. A city that it could benefit in a big way is Humboldt, Kansas. Right now, the city faces a $1.6 million natural gas bill. The city's typical monthly gas bill is closer to $30,000. So the city administrator says the loan may be their only option.
Our customers can't stand that kind of a bill in 1 month. It just would bankrupt everybody. One family that I looked up a bill, and their bill is typically around under $200, $170 or $80. Their bill for this month would have been $5,400.
Herder tells us the Humboldt City Council would have to approve applying for the loan, but that it will be his recommendation. Mercy Hospital is temporarily allowing walk-in vaccinations for people currently eligible for a COVID-19 vaccine. That includes people 65 and older, people ages 18 and older with health conditions that make them high risk, healthcare workers, first responders, and other emergency personnel.
Instead of our normal scheduling this particular week, we have opened up our vaccine clinic to individuals that would just walk in, but those who still meet the criteria as approved by the governor at this point in time.
Walk-ins will be accepted today and Saturday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Again, supply is limited and doses will be given on a first-come, first-served basis. Missouri Governor Mike Parson announced yesterday that more pharmacies in Missouri will begin receiving vaccine doses. The vaccines will be distributed through a new state pharmacy program. The Missouri Pharmacy Association will submit orders to the Department of Health and Senior Services on behalf of partnering pharmacies. You can find a link to see which pharmacies are receiving doses in the story on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. The Better Business Bureau in Southwest Missouri says online shopping scams are on the rise. In 2020, more than 46,000 scams were published on the BBB Scam Tracker. That's a nearly 25% increase from the year before. The regional representative for the BBB gave us some tips to avoid becoming a victim.
You need to know that if somebody's pressuring you to deposit something within 24 hours, that's probably a scam. If somebody's contacting you out of the blue, giving you a check, it's probably a scam. If somebody is saying that, this is a one-time offer, it's never going to come around again, you need to pay online today, that's probably a scam.
Garland says 18 to 24-year-olds and senior citizens are the most likely to become victims of an online scam. A Pittsburgh high school student will head to Manhattan for an oratorical contest. The contest, hosted by the American Legion, has students perform an academic speaking challenge based around the U.S. Constitution. Last week, PHS student Owen Miller won the district contest. Congratulations, Owen. So now he's moving on to state.
I did have competition at districts, so that was a lot of fun. But I kind of automatically won here at Pittsburgh since I was the only person who entered. So not a lot of people at our high school were really aware that this was happening, which to me was kind of disappointing because these people are my friends. The people who would enter would be the people I would really enjoy competing against.
I have to brag on Owen. He's one of our scouts in Troop 151. Congrats. The national competition was canceled this year, but the prize money was split up and given to states for their contest. Owen could get nearly $6,000 if he wins on March 13th. We wish you the best. It's 5:07.
Temperatures are sitting in the 50s right now. Give you an idea of our rain on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. It's been relatively light. The heavier stuff hanging off into central and western Kansas. It is moving toward us, but it's also going to break up a little bit the closer that it gets. Temperatures hanging in the 40s and 50s for the time being. Sunrise 6:43, and then after that we're going to have the rain hang around until about the noon hour. Begins to break for the afternoon, clearing skies, and temperatures going to hang in the 50s all the way into overnight. Then we drop down to the 30s before we get back to the 60s for Saturday and Sunday.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Carl Junction at home against Webb City last night for the championship game in Class 5 District 12 Girls Tournament in Missouri. We're going to have highlights from that game. Plus, while people were at home over the past year, reports of injuries went up. A look at some of the most common injuries caused by household items. And eBay bans the sale of all 6 of the Dr. Seuss books pulled from print earlier this week. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Championship night for the Class 5 District 12 Girls Tournament in Missouri. Also, the rivalry game, Carl Junction at home against Webb City. With the winner moving on to the state bracket as CJ aims for its 6th straight district title. We'll start with JD Duda. Oh, look at the dump off to Sierra Kimbrough. Kimbrough comes up with the three-pointer. Then Destiny Berge. She had 35 last night. 35 for Carl. Seconds left in the second quarter. Here comes Duda. Gets the jumper. Off the glass. Webb City up 5 at the break. Here come the Bulldogs. Haley Short sparks a late Carl Junction comeback. 6 in a row for CJ. They squeak by Webb City 55-52, now on to the state tournament.
I'm so excited right now. It's insane. It shows that we can work really hard together and just keep our pressure going. We're really young, so we're just going to keep building and building until we're at our peak. We're just going to keep going and playing hard and playing our game.
Semi-final night at the girls 3A sub-state tournament in Riverton. We'll start with Tri-Valley action as Cherryvale got to face CNC foe Girard. Winner of this one playing for a spot in the state tournament. Championship game will take place on Saturday. Really good one here. Trojans up 3 in the 4th. Jada Valley straight to the rim, gets the lead to 5 with 3 minutes to go. Valley good in the 4th here to the basket again. She had 16, 8 of those in the 4th quarter. Cherryvale not going anywhere. 40 seconds left. Mariah Monroy, the three-pointer. But Girard back in front late and finishes it off. Trojans get to the sub-state championship 62-58.
This time of year it is survive in advance. Cherryvale, got to tip my hat to them. They brought everything tonight. Had hit some big shots and we made some plays back. It was just a really good high school basketball game.
And who will Coach Herlocker's opponent be Saturday? Well, we go top-seeded Frontenac on the floor against Galena. What's up, Hattie Pyle? Good start from Mia Sarwinski. Smooth pull-up for 3. Sarwinski, 8 in the 1st quarter. Bulldogs are up 3. 2nd quarter, Frontenac gets it going. Sydney Frankenberry from the side. Raiders take their first lead. Then Reagan Hipful with the short jumper. By the way, that's Grayson Hipful. She gets the nice 2. And then Heather Arnett. Boom. Raiders up 4 at the half, eventually pull away, beat Galena 49-35. Frontenac Girard, 2 p.m. Saturday, sub-state championship. McCully Warriors, the girls team, headed to the state quarterfinals as they beat Montrose 70-45 Wednesday night in the sectional round of the Class 1 bracket. In that one, Kennedy DeRuis, she scored a game-high 31 points. Teammate Kaylee Teeter, she had 22. Now the Warriors hit the road to face Walnut Grove on Saturday, with the winner going to the state Final 4. Saturday's game will be McCully's first quarterfinal appearance since 2002. An appearance in the quarters, obviously not where they want to stop.
We're in uncharted territory now. We've only been to this game 3 times, and the girls are excited about the opportunity. If we can just go in there with a mindset that we have nothing to lose, and to be the best, you got to beat the best.
It's also a challenge, though, to just see that not a lot of teams have done it for our school. I think it'd be a great honor if we can achieve that.
Finally, after 8 games on the road, the Pitt State softball team going to play its home opener on Saturday. Gorillas hosting 2 games over the weekend, the first being against Minnesota Duluth. That first pitch will be at 12:30. It's a day Pitt State's been waiting for quite some time, because when the pandemic hit last spring, this will actually be the Gorillas' first home game since 2019. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, royal family tensions.
A royal family feud as Prince Harry and Meghan prepare to break their silence. I'm Tina Kraus with fallout from a bombshell interview that hasn't even aired yet.
And to check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Little past 5:17 and our first taste of March precipitation on this Friday morning. It's that system that moved in all the way from the west coast, one that we've been tracking ever since Monday, not resulting in very heavy rain right now. This lighter green, just almost a drizzle, a sprinkle, if you will, every now and then. We are picking up some heavier rain there through western and central Kansas. Put up the storm icons there just to kind of give you an idea of where it's coming down heavier. And you'll notice we don't actually have any of those in our highlighted counties. That's with the lightning tracker on as well. So we're not looking at any threat of lightning nor anything severe. Wind has shifted now, moving in from the east, 54 in Joplin. Let's roll 53 in Welch and throw up a pair of 53s in Lamar and Carthage as well. Just a matter of making sure they stay dry on the bus stop forecast, because the temperatures are very nice. And we'll pick up to about 10-15 miles per hour here by the time we get to 9-10 a.m. Pretty isolated as a whole when we talk about the contiguous 48, certainly not widespread by any means, but because it is hanging out throughout western Kansas, it's going to be a while before we're able to clear off say probably about the noon hour is how long it wants to last. But then got a chance to even see a little sunshine, a little peek of it there before we even have sunset. Temperatures are going to just hang kind of where they are right now. We're not going to see much of a bump up there after sunrise because of the heavier cloud cover. Now, as those skies do clear overnight, it's going to drop back down close to the freezing mark by the time we get to Saturday morning. But speaking of Saturday morning, watch this. After we were able to kick this out of there and we clear out, it's going to be a gorgeous four-state weekend. Our temperature is going to take right back off on Saturday up into the high 50s. We'll even throw some 60s up there, not only for Saturday, but Sunday as well. If you want to go ahead and look way down the road, we do have some thunderstorm activity that we're going to pick up there middle of next week. On the KOAM News Now Facebook page this morning and our morning Insta poll, eBay is scrubbing its site of the Dr. Seuss books deemed to be insensitive. Now, according to the Wall Street Journal, the online marketplace says it's working to prevent the resale of 6 Dr. Seuss books. They were pulled earlier this week by the company in charge of the late author's works because the company believes they contain offensive imagery. Hundreds of listings for the 6 books could be found on the platform still as of Thursday morning. eBay says it'll take some time to review seller listings and that it's monitoring newly published listings. Our question to you is, should eBay be allowed to ban content it considers to be insensitive? Let us know why or why not on Facebook, and also take part in our Insta poll. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Get your comments and your results. Health Watch next.
Topping Health Watch this morning, with Americans spending more time at home during the pandemic, a new report released shows more people are getting hurt by some products found around the house. Everything from fireworks to skateboards. Mandy Gaither has tips to keep you and your family safe.
For many, the pandemic has provided more time at home, but that comes with a downside.
The home has now been turned into a gym, an office, a playground, and a school.
A new report by the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission showed that while overall ER visits went down from March through September 2020, reported injuries from certain items and activities around the home went up. Numbers of those hurt from fireworks and flares were up 56% for skateboards, scooters, and hoverboards, and severe injuries for ATVs, mopeds, and mini bikes. ER-treated injuries went up 39%. Bicycle injuries increased for people 40 and older. Emergency hospital visits related to button-sized batteries rose 93% among children ages 5 to 9, and ER treatment rose sharply for injuries related to cleaning supplies.
It's that combination of factors, distraction, all these multitasking that's being done, and everyone in the house that sets up a greater exposure for risk in the house.
The CPSC says to keep cleaning products in their original bottles and lock them up and away from small children. Gear up with a helmet before riding a scooter, skateboard, or bike. And make sure this label is on a bike helmet, which means it's certified by the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission. Also, never allow young children to play with or ignite fireworks.
Even sparklers, which many people think is okay, is not a good idea to give to children. They burn at a temperature of 2,000 degrees like a blowtorch, and you wouldn't give your child a blowtorch to play with.
Finally, keep products with small batteries that can be swallowed away from children. They're dangerous and potentially deadly if ingested. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission says it's also important to always have the number 2 poison control. Taking anti-seizure drugs during pregnancy does not affect a child's development. Researchers found children born to women with epilepsy had no developmental delays at age 3 when compared to children born to women without the disease. In a first-of-its-kind study, Chinese researchers have identified a key link between air pollution and physical activity. They found higher levels of physical activity helped ward off type 2 diabetes, especially for people living in places with poor air quality. Scientists in the UK have examined worms to better understand what makes humans feel full after a meal. They identified a key master controller in the nervous system of worms that helps regulate their nutritional needs, and believe humans have a similar system to control overeating. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Friday morning rain remaining light over the 4 states on the Skywatch Storm Tracker, with the heaviest rain through central Kansas right now, and right along the south central area and the state line with Oklahoma. You can see where the yellow even turns into orange there just on the other side of Ponca City. Our temperatures very comfortable right now, a little easterly breeze and pretty much mid-50s. Iola's dropped down to 49. Not a whole lot of movement temperature-wise today, as we're going to have 50s for the most part and scattered rain up until the noon hour. Then we begin to clear off, so we'll get a little sunshine here before it's all said and done. 60s on Saturday and Sunday, a delightful 4-state weekend. Then we've got approaching thunderstorm activity and warmer temps for the middle of next week.
New details in a police investigation involving a suspicious device found near Pitt State campus. Plus, help is coming to Kansas communities facing high energy bills and why you may not need an appointment to get the COVID vaccine at Mercy Hospital.
The 4 states most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. We've got some rain in the forecast this morning, but don't worry, it's not going to last long. Here's Michael with a check of your forecast.
Some of it not even able to hit the ground because of our dry air mass that we've had the past couple of days, where we are seeing light rain almost equating to some sprinkles. We are picking up here on the western portion of southeast Kansas where we see the darker green, but the heavier rain actually is staying out to the west of us and kind of breaking up as it approaches, so it's not going to be anything severe. Wind has shifted, moving in from the east. Temperature is going to be stagnant for really the most of the morning. 52 in Miami, 51 are at now in Parsons. Let's roll 53 in Carthage. It's not widespread, not one of those massive systems, but it just kind of moved over the Rockies right there, encompassing Kansas and then right along the Arkansas-Oklahoma state line down on the other side of the Red River. Should be done with it though by around the noon hour, and after that even clearing off a little bit, giving us a little peak of sunshine before we get into Friday night / Saturday morning. Speaking of Friday night, because our skies do clear off, we'll be down back close to the freezing mark, but a great looking rebound on Saturday and Sunday as we'll throw up temperatures up in the 60s with a whole bunch of sunshine. As we progress into next week, we do have thunderstorm activity that wants to show up there on Wednesday and Thursday. All the more reason to get out and enjoy a wonderful 4-state weekend. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Michael. Pittsburgh Police Department releases new details about a suspicious device found Wednesday near Pitt State. Pitt State Police found the device on the 1500 block of Joplin Street, and later the Kansas State Highway Patrol's hazardous device unit left with the device. Yesterday, they say they were able to dismantle it and found it contained a small amount of incendiary components. Pieces of the device have been sent to a lab to look for further evidence. The Kansas governor signs legislation to provide relief for cities facing high gas bills. Governor Kelly announced on Wednesday a $100 million low-interest loan program has been created for cities facing high utility bills after February's winter weather. A city it could benefit in a big way is Humboldt, Kansas. Right now, the city faces a $1.6 million natural gas bill. Its normal monthly gas bill is closer to $30,000. So they don't have the money to cover it, and residents would not be able to afford the kind of price hike it would take to pay it.
I can't pay my $1.6 million bill when I only have $250,000 in reserve. I would be in violation of the law. So this legislation allows us to be legal and have a loan long enough to help us recover.
Herder tells us the Humboldt City Council will have to approve applying for the loan, but that it will be his recommendation. Mercy Hospital is temporarily allowing walk-in appointments for people currently eligible for a COVID-19 vaccine, and that includes people ages 65 and older, people ages 18 and older with health conditions that make them high risk, healthcare workers, first responders, and other emergency personnel. Supply is limited and doses will be given on a first-come, first-served basis. Walk-ins will be accepted today and Saturday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. In some cases, COVID-19 vaccines are causing lymph nodes to swell and misleading some women into thinking they may have breast cancer. A team at Freeman Hospital's Wes and Jan Hauser Women's Pavilion knows that swollen lymph nodes can be a breast cancer indicator. That's why they're asking the women who come to them for mammograms and checkups to let them know if they've received a shot of COVID-19 vaccine.
It's documented onto a history sheet that we put out on every patient, and that way Dr. Cito, our radiologist, then could go back to our history sheet and see that if they've had a vaccine, and that gives her a tip-off that that's what's causing this.
The Society of Breast Imaging recommends women schedule routine breast screenings either before getting their COVID-19 vaccine or 4 to 6 weeks after getting their second shot. But the team at Freeman says as long as you inform them that you've received a vaccine, there shouldn't be a problem. Joplin School District is still requiring students and staff to wear masks in the educational setting, this despite the city of Joplin's mask mandate expiring. The school district says its goal is to keep schools open and to allow all students to attend school daily. Pittsburgh area students will put their creativity, critical thinking, and engineering skills to the test in a drone competition. Pitt State's putting on the competition that'll be open to middle, high school, and college students from across the area. Students will create drone missions and field elements or obstacles in a 10-foot by 20-foot netted drone area.
In the fall, we did a dragster race. We decided to go from the road and the ground to the air, and the next 50 years we think are going to be focused on things like drone technology. And so we want for students to start getting more and more access to that.
Registration is open through March 17th. It's free, but registration will be capped at 32 teams. You can find a link to register on our website. That's at KOAMnewsnow.com. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, a woman makes a weird discovery behind her bathroom mirror in her New York City apartment, all by following a draft of cold air. Plus, an interview with Prince Harry and his wife Meghan is raising tensions between the couple and Britain's royal family. We'll have the latest there, but first, it's 5:37.
Overcast skies and light rain to begin Friday morning. Sunrise 6:43. Not much movement temperature-wise as we'll stay in the 50s all day long. Rain's going to hang around. Light rain. We're talking about 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch of accumulation. That's it. So it'll be light. Stick around till about the noon hour. Then we begin to break up. Thing is, when we break up those clouds, it also cools it down overnight, all the way down, close just about to the freezing mark. I guess the nice thing is we can keep anything severe out to the west of us. But then on Saturday and Sunday, can't beat that. We're going to roll back-to-back days of 60s for the weekend. Progress into next week, warming trend. High 60s, low 70s. That also means a little instability brings us thunderstorm activity on Wednesday and Thursday. Be right back with World Watch next.
Topping World Watch, Oprah Winfrey's upcoming interview on CBS with Prince Harry and his wife Meghan is raising tensions between the couple and Britain's royal family. Tina Krause has the story from London.
You know, for me, I'm just really relieved.
Prince Harry and Meghan's tell-all TV special has sparked a huge royal rift.
How do you feel about the palace hearing you speak your truth today?
I don't know how they could expect that after all of this time, we would still just be silent if there is an active role that the firm is playing in perpetuating falsehoods about us.
The firm is a nickname Brits sometimes use for the royal family. Royal watchers say the gloves have come off.
I think you could probably only describe that relationship now between the two sides as all-out war.
Royal aides exposed allegations in a UK newspaper that after Meghan Markle married Prince Harry in 2018 and moved into the royal household, she bullied staff using, quote, emotional cruelty and manipulation, and drove 2 aides out the door.
Prince Harry and Meghan say they're victims of a calculated smear campaign, but Buckingham Palace officials say they're investigating the claims.
The palace issued a rare statement saying, "We're clearly very concerned about the allegations in the Times. Our HR team will look into the circumstances outlined in the article."
We all know what the British press can be like.
Prince Harry told James Corden on the Late Late Show last week the UK media is toxic.
I did what any husband and what any father would do, is like, I need to get my family out of here.
In just days, the Duke and Duchess will reveal more about why they broke ties with the royal family. Tina Krause, CBS News, London.
You can watch Oprah with Meghan and Harry, a primetime special this Sunday at 7 p.m. right here on KOAM. Well, over 1,300 weapons were crushed by a bulldozer in Madrid on Thursday. The weapons confiscated by security forces in operations against both the disbanded Basque group ETA and Grapo, an extreme left-wing group. 90% of the firearms had belonged to the ETA. The firearms were destroyed in front of the Spanish Prime Minister and members of the nation's security forces. Mexico City gives a lift to connecting poor neighborhoods with its newest mass transportation system. The city of about 9 million people is going aerial to get around with its new cable car system. Each car seats 10 passengers, runs on electricity, and can travel faster than most city traffic. Reducing that traffic and accidents is one objective, but the main goal is to help hillside areas overcome their lack of access to public transportation. Pretty cool. And a zoo in northwestern England announces a blessed event. An Okapia calf was born at the Chester Zoo during the country's coronavirus lockdown. Oh, look at that little guy. Surveillance cameras captured the female calf's first wobbly steps, and now she stepped outside for the very first time. Okapias are very rare. They're found in the wild in only one country, the Democratic Republic of Congo. Zookeepers have named the new calf Nia Nia after a village in the Congo where the zoo's long-term conservation partners are based. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, eBay scrubbing its site of the Dr. Seuss books deemed to be insensitive by the company that now holds the rights to the late author's works. Our question to you is, should eBay be allowed to ban content? Dave Sorek says Dr. Seuss, the former Mr. Potato Head, and whatever's next contrived outrage are all designed to distract you from, quote, the man behind the curtain. Next thing you know, a day designated to, quote, unplug America will be promoted. Move along, folks, Dave says. Nothing to see here. Roy Mercer says, sounds like eBay will be losing what little business I gave them already. And Guy Hansen, fascism, virtual book burning, cancel culture, censorship, race, gender, identity politics, the summer of love have all coalesced and successfully overthrew the United States government. Former Democrat Party who religiously invokes Hitler and casts the evil on their political opponents is the mirror image of Nazi Germany, complete with the formation of state-run media to spew their propaganda. Thank you, KOAM, for keeping free speech and liberty alive. Guy, thank you for your engagement each and every morning. Rocky Cunningham says, sure, and I have the right to ban eBay from what space I've allowed them to occupy in my mind. Love you, Aunt Pat. We do love Aunt Pat. And Michael Arrowwood says, I've never purchased anything of eBay. I am good. For the morning Insta poll, should eBay be allowed to ban content it considers offensive? Going back and forth right now. Right now, 56% of you say no, 44% saying yes, and you can make your voice heard. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Be back with the news you need to know before you head out the door right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The CDC says more than 16% of Americans have now received at least one COVID vaccine dose, and that the average number of doses administered each day has reached 2 million. California and Maryland now plan to send more vaccines to vulnerable communities to battle inequities. Mercy Hospital temporarily allows walk-in appointments for people currently eligible for a COVID-19 vaccine. That includes people ages 65 and older, people 18 and older with health conditions that make them high risk, healthcare workers, first responders, and other emergency personnel. Supply is limited and doses will be given on a first-come, first-served basis. Walk-ins will be accepted both today and Saturday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Kansas governor signs legislation to provide relief for cities facing high gas bills. Governor Kelly announced on Wednesday a $100 million low-interest loan program created for cities facing high utility bills after February's winter weather. One city it could benefit in a big way is Humboldt, Kansas. Right now, the city faces a $1.6 million natural gas bill. Its normal monthly gas bill is closer to $30,000. So they don't have the money to cover it, and residents would not be able to afford the kind of price hike it would take to pay it. Pittsburgh Police Department releases new details about a suspicious device found Wednesday near Pitt State. Pitt State Police found the device on the 1500 block of Joplin, and later the Kansas State Highway Patrol's hazardous device unit left with the device. Yesterday, they say they were able to dismantle it and found it contained a small amount of incendiary components. Pieces of the device have now been sent to a lab to look for further evidence. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Look at our scattered rain on a Friday morning in early March. The heaviest rain staying down around the Kansas-Oklahoma state line into the west of our counties. No lightning, and only looking at accumulation numbers in between about 1/10 and 1/4 of an inch. Some of that not even able to hit the ground. But it is going to stick around with our overcast skies. Throw the satellite picture on, give you an idea of the heavy cloud cover really dominating most of the Midwest. Temperature is going to hang in the low to mid 50s for really the rest of the day. Not going to see a whole lot of movement on that. Eventually, after the noon hour, we begin to break those clouds off and clear out a little bit. Little taste of sunshine before Friday's over. Thing is, when we lose the cloud cover from Friday into Saturday, we're going to be back down close to that freezing mark early Saturday morning. But not going to last long. We're going to roll 60s on Saturday and Sunday. Now look at the right-hand side. We got thunderstorm activity coming. So if you got your phone handy, all you got to do is pop a picture of our QR code right there. It's going to take you to where you can download the KOAM News app and the Skywatch Weather app. And we'll bring those back throughout the course of the show. All you got to do when those pop up, like I said, grab your phone, put it on your camera, and take a picture of it, and we'll take you right there. Those are downloadable on all your mobile devices, and they are free. We'll be back right after this.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. A New York City woman looks behind one and tells all. She used TikTok to show millions of viewers the weird discovery she made behind her bathroom mirror. Janine Moose has the whole story.
It started with a weird draft in the bathroom.
Cold air blowing on me. You can see my hair blowing in the cold wind. And the air is coming from the mirror.
And thus began the saga. Look at what she found in her New York City apartment. It was freaky enough to send others scurrying to check their bathroom mirrors.
All right, we're good.
But Samantha Hartsoe wasn't. More than a hole.
Just the electrical. Oh, no. There's a room back there.
Samantha documented her discovery in a 4-part series on TikTok.
I have to go in.
As viewers warned her away.
Cover it up. Pretend you never saw it. Move out.
Don't go in there!
Ready?
Yes.
Part 3, we're going in, armed with a hammer. Though Samantha told us later.
Weirdly, I wasn't that scared.
Those who had seen the movie Candyman.
What's behind the mirror?
Were scared for her.
I have not seen Candyman. At this point, I feel like I should be in it.
In she went, or tried, as one of her roommates stood watch.
Oh, your hip's not gonna make it.
Straddling the inside of this wall right now.
Though worried the wall might break, she squeezed her way through.
She's actually in.
And once in, she found trash bags, boxes, pipes, not just a room.
It was a whole apartment.
And she lived to TikTok about it.
Made it out alive.
It turns out a woman in a Chicago apartment building was murdered in 1987 after burglars came in through the bathroom mirror. Apparently, some buildings have easy access for maintenance people to get to plumbing fixtures. Management at Samantha's building declined to comment, but Samantha called maintenance to come over and take a look. Some were reminded of that old Right Guard commercial.
Oh no.
Where the neighbor borrows the guy's deodorant, it stinks when your mirror is an open door.
I think she just got increased the square footage of her apartment. I would probably just knock out that whole wall and take advantage of it.
Gone in.
I would have.
I got the guts.
Would have killed this cat. Yeah, for sure.
That does. I used to live in a place that had a huge mirror over the fireplace. Now I'm starting to wonder.
That's so cool.
What did I miss out on, maybe?
Well,
Hi, Tanya. On the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Insta poll, we're asking, should eBay be allowed to ban content it considers to be insensitive after the online marketplace decided to get rid of 6 Dr. Seuss books and sales of those. Rick Norton is back with us, and I love it, club member. Rick says, good morning, Pittsburgh and KOAM crew. We say good morning, Rick. He says, what a joke, people. We must stop all of the stupid nonsense. As of today, we are still a free nation, but are heading towards a communist nation. When will we stand up and say enough is enough? Rick says, I say today. Rocky Cunningham says, Mr. Potato Head's first, Mr. Coffee second. Crystal McCracken says, if the content is offensive, but we all know Dr. Seuss is not offensive, cancel culture. And they get off my lawn 3000. And Kitty Kimmel, club member, says, I believe eBay is a private company. If people are lame enough to find fault with Dr. Seuss, that is their right. If eBay chooses not to sell the books, I guess that is their right. As far as our Insta poll goes, we're now getting a little, there we go, changing on the fly. 66% say no, a complete flip from the way we started the show right there. You can make your voice heard, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Be back, update the Skywatch Storm Tracker right after this.
New details in a police investigation involving a suspicious device found near Pitt State campus. Plus, help is coming to Kansas communities facing high energy bills and why you may not need an appointment to get the COVID vaccine at Mercy Hospital.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Chance of rain today, but don't worry, we've got a clear, warm, and sunny weekend lying ahead of us. Here's Michael with a first check of your forecast.
Just got to get past the Friday morning rain first. Some of this in the central portion not even able to hit the ground. A little darker green there in southwest Missouri. Heaviest rainfall for our Friday morning. Certainly in the western part of southeast Kansas, and then it picks up as you get into central and western Kansas. But we do have a little break as far as it lightning up, not lightning from the sky. The rain lightning up as it pushes our way. 53 in Joplin, 51 in Pittsburgh, 49 in both Monette and Independence. It's not widespread by any means. And the convective outlook as far as thunderstorm activity goes really stays through western and central Kansas, doesn't affect us. We'll be looking at about 1/4 to 1/10 inch of accumulation. 50s throughout the course of the day, clearing off, might get a little sunshine there before we get to Friday night. But one thing the clearing off does also takes with it those 50-degree temperatures, and so we're back down close to the freezing mark for early Saturday morning. Short-lived cold front back to the 60s for Saturday and Sunday, and then we turn our attention to warmer temps, but also thunderstorm activity for the middle of next week. Tanya?
All right, sounds good, Michael. Pittsburgh Police Department releases new details about a suspicious device found Wednesday near Pitt State. Pitt State Police found the device on the 1500 block of Joplin Street, and later the Kansas State Highway Patrol's hazardous device unit left with the device. Yesterday, they say they were able to dismantle it and found it contained a small amount of incendiary components. Pieces of the device have been sent to a lab to look for further evidence. State of Kansas takes action to help cities and residents facing historically high utility bills. We've told you about the high utility bills in Altamont, Kansas due to February's winter weather. The residents in Humboldt face the same situation. KOAM's Zach Dodge spoke with officials in Humboldt about that situation and how a new loan program in the state might provide a workable solution.
Typically, we get billed about $35,000 a month. We've been advised that the estimate for February's cost will be $1.6 million.
It sounds like something you'd hear in a movie or some other work of fiction. But for the city of Humboldt, the situation is all too real.
Have you ever seen a bill in your time here that's been that high, especially
never.
for 1 month?
Never, maybe 40 or 50,000.
When the polar vortex hit the Midwest in February, the price for natural gas skyrocketed. Humboldt City Administrator Cole Herder explains their price per unit is usually around $3. They saw prices go as high as $622 per unit.
The gas we buy is traded on an index, a daily index. So we believe that there were people profiting on the trading of the gas that never had any contact with the gas.
The Federal Energy Regulatory Commission has started an investigation to see if there was market manipulation, but in the short term, cities like Humboldt are still facing bills that are multitudes higher than they can afford.
One family that I looked up a bill, and their bill is typically around under $200. Their bill for this month would have been $5,400.
But there may be some relief. On Wednesday, Governor Kelly signed legislation to create a $100 million low-interest loan program. where cities could get a loan from the state for what they owe on utilities and pay that back over a 10-year period. Herder says at this point it may be their only option.
I can't pay my $1.6 million bill when I only have $250,000 in reserve. I would be in violation of the law. So this legislation allows us to be legal and have a loan long enough to help us recover.
In Humboldt, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Herder tells us the City Council would have to approve applying for the loan, but he will recommend it. He hopes eventually there will be some form of federal relief. Joplin's Mercy Hospital is offering a first dose of COVID-19 vaccine to qualified Missouri residents through a walk-in clinic. Those qualified include people ages 65 and older, any adult with underlying health conditions, healthcare workers, first responders, and other emergency personnel. The clinic is offered through Saturday, but it's on a first-come, first-served basis. 131 doses were given out yesterday morning.
Per week, we find ourselves in a situation where we received more vaccine than we were anticipating, so we have an excess, and we are trying to be good stewards of that vaccine and get that vaccine to people that need it.
Today's clinic will be open until 6. There will also be a clinic Saturday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Missouri Governor Mike Parson seems to be optimistic about getting shots as soon as possible to everyone in the state, even as critics in urban areas complain that rural parts of the state are getting more than their proportional share. Governor Parson visited a St. Louis vaccination site where the National Guard is helping to keep things running, and Governor Parson says things are getting better every day. Earlier on yesterday, the governor visited Pfizer's facility in nearby Chesterfield, Missouri, where workers are producing the vaccine.
Can't tell you how proud I am to have, a company like Pfizer here in Missouri that actually touches every vaccine in the world right here in St. Louis.
Political and civic leaders in the state's most populous areas claim their regions are not getting enough vaccine. They've cited cases in which people drove hundreds of miles to rural areas to get shots. Governor Parson has denied favoritism towards rural areas. He told reporters, quote, anytime you look at a major populated area, it's going to take longer to get through the process just simply because of the population. Pittsburgh area students will put their creativity, critical thinking, and engineering skills to the test in a drone competition. Pitt State is putting on the competition that'll be open to middle, high school, and college students from across the area. Students will create drone missions and field elements or obstacles in a 10-foot by 20-foot netted drone area.
In the fall, we did a dragster race. We decided to go from the road and the ground to the air, and the next 50 years we think are going to be focused on things like drone technology. And so we want for students to start getting more and more access to that.
Registration is open through March 17th. It is free, but registration will be capped at 32 teams. And you can find a link to register on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. 6:07.
It is our first round of March rain on this Friday morning. Not going to look at anything severe. And the heaviest part still hanging out to the west right there along the Kansas-Oklahoma state line south of Wichita. Temperatures in the 50s and going to stick around. Not going to have a massive cold front or anything on the backside of it. Get down to the 30s tonight, right back into the 60s for Saturday and Sunday with plenty of sunshine over the weekend. Warming trend headed our way next week. I got some high 60s, low 70s, and we'll combo that with thunderstorm activity for the middle of next week. I can stretch. Oh, trust me. Brett, my cameraman, telling me to stretch. I'm like, oh my man, you want to talk about being able to stretch. Watch this. Here's what happens when we get into the afternoon hours. After the rain, the clouds begin to break. Once they break, guess what happens to all that 50-degree weather? It's a thing of the distant past. So don't be surprised if we don't see close to the freezing mark here by the time we get into Saturday morning. Now, as far as the thunderstorm outlook, that stays to the west of Wichita. What we can do is check out our observed precipitation right now for this latest round, and really, we're talking about very, very minute numbers. See just around Ponca City, where they've actually picked up a couple inches of rain, but we're not even registering the quarter mark there. in the central portion of the 4th State. You got pitched all the way down to the southwest of our counties, Washington, Craig in there. But other than that, our ground's dry enough, no flooding concerns, anything of that nature. East breeze, 10 to 15 miles per hour. It is one of those days where we've been talking about the low humidity and whatnot. If you want to burn some brush today may be the day to do it. The humidity's going to be up there, ground be a little bit wet, breeze will be nice. I burned that clock all the way through 0 now, didn't I? How about that?
In Money Watch this morning, while the pandemic kept Americans at home, the number of miles driven in the U.S. dropped 13%. Safety experts hoped that would mean a silver lining of fewer deadly accidents. But as Michael George reports, it was exactly the opposite.
Police say the driver may have been drag racing before this deadly crash on a Los Angeles highway. Near Boston, 2 teenagers died last year when their speeding pickup truck lost control. Even as the pandemic emptied roads, the number of deadly crashes spiked.
We knew 2020 was going to be bad because of the trend lines we had seen, but we didn't realize it would be this bad.
Preliminary estimates from the National Safety Council show more than 42,000 motor vehicle deaths in 2020. That's up 8% from the year before and marks a 13-year high. With fewer cars on the roads, drivers got reckless, while police begged for caution.
We are imploring drivers on the streets of Los Angeles, please slow down.
We took open roads as an open invitation to speed, drive recklessly. There are reports in some states of increases of impaired driving.
In addition to the spike in death rates, 4.8 million people were seriously injured in crashes last year. Safety experts are calling for action.
Instead of raising speed limits, we really should be thinking about either keeping them what they are or lowering them. We need seatbelt laws, and then we need distracted driving laws.
Texas was at the top of the list with nearly 3,900 driving deaths last year. The numbers reveal that during the worst public health crisis in a century, there was also a crisis on the roads. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
8 states showed a more than 15% increase in the estimated number of deaths, including Arkansas, South Dakota, and Vermont. The federal debt is on track to be twice the size of the entire U.S. economy by the year 2051. That's the finding of a report from the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. CBO projected this year's federal debt would be 102% of the U.S. gross domestic product. That's it for Money Watch. We'll be right back.
Still looking at the heaviest of the rain out in the western part of southeast Kansas. Haven't picked up any lightning, and the severe thunderstorm outlook actually stays excuse me, to the west side of Wichita, so it doesn't even affect our counties as we're looking at accumulation numbers between about 1/10 and 1/4 of an inch. Not a whole lot, certainly in our ground dry enough to handle it. A little break in the clouds as we get into the afternoon and evening hours, dropping back down to cold temperatures overnight, but 60s headed our way for the weekend. 6:17, let's roll weather on the 7s. Some of the radar activity that we have not even able to hit the ground as we got a clean Skywatch storm tracker camera outside the mothership. No raindrops showing up as of yet. 53 degrees is where we stand in Joplin right now, humidity of 55%. This is that area that I'm talking about, even though it shows up in the light green. Not able to hit the ground with the dry atmosphere that we've had past couple of days. Are seeing some heavier rain pick up here out to the west in our far western southeastern counties. Majority of the rain really been right here along the Kansas-Oklahoma state line, just on the other side of Ponca City. Through on the storm icons to show you where it is picking up steam down there in Arkansas, but we don't see any show up in our highlighted counties. 47 in Stockton, let's roll 51 in Miami, and 48 in Iola. So for the bus stop forecast, they get sprinkled on. We're not talking about, a torrential downpour or anything. Wind has shifted, moving in from the east right now, 10 to 15 miles per hour. This is a system that's moving right along the state line. It is pushing off to the east right there. Everything that we see down to the south, that'll make its way through central Arkansas. Not going to be one of those that makes a northeasterly push toward us. And our temperature staying in the 50s all day long. Eventually, we begin to clear off here during the evening and nighttime hours. Thing does. That puts us back down into the 30s, if not close to the freezing mark here. So there's our break for the afternoon. Like I said, it's not going to rain hard. We're looking at only about 1/10 to 1/4 inch of precipitation, and our ground can easily handle that. And Saturday and Sunday are going to be absolutely gorgeous, as we're going to have clear skies, sunshine, and temperatures close to, if not exceeding, 60 degrees both days. As we push into next week, we've got a warming trend on our hands and increased instability middle of next week, looking at thunderstorm activity. So if you got your phone handy, all you got to do is open up your camera on any device that you have and snap a picture of our QR code. And what that's going to do is deliver you to the place where you can download the Skywatch weather app, and it is free, downloadable for all your mobile devices. There she is right there. We'll bring her back throughout the course of the show here several times, so don't worry if, don't think it's a one-shot deal. You're going to have time to get that, but especially with the thunderstorm activity showing up middle of next week, going to be your best 4-state resource to find out what's headed our way. Now, with the weather warming up, our own Jesse Irwin stopped by the zoo in Independence, Kansas to get to know some of its residents, and today we meet Shadow.
Who are we joined by in this living area?
We are joined by Shadow the emu.
Okay, so we're in a habitat with Shadow. Shadow is huge.
He gets to be about 5 to 6 feet normally. They are actually the only birds that have calf muscles, which can allow them to run up to 30 miles per hour.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. So, I mean, what does Shadow, what's a day in the life of Shadow look like?
Shadow, he likes to get attention from his keepers. He eats and forages, and we put up enrichment for him to explore and see. Yep, this is enrichment.
This is confetti.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
So we add new things for him to interact with, things that he wouldn't normally find necessarily, to help elicit natural behaviors that he would normally have in the wild. So like this could be, you know, added movement, added color. We also have a ball of food for him to interact with, make it a little bit more difficult, more entertaining for him to get some food.
What is it about Shadow that makes him different from Alan, the other emu you guys have here?
Shadow was actually rejected by his father, so the zoo staff had to hand raise him. So he really likes to have keeper attention. He likes to follow us around. His father's not nearly as friendly. His father still likes attention a little bit, but he doesn't crave it like Shadow does.
And are emus an animal that you can, I mean, can I have a pet emu, or do you have to be a licensed zoo to have an emu in your life?
It depends on the state laws. In Kansas, they are considered livestock. So technically you could. They're actually usually, for livestock, they're farmed for their meat and their oil and their eggs. The males actually are the ones that build the nest and sit on the eggs. And they do that for about 8 weeks, and then they actually raise the young. Usually the female will go ahead and leave after she lays about 5 to 15 eggs. And then the male sits on the eggs. And for about 8 weeks, he doesn't get up to eat or anything like that. He'll actually lose about 1/3 of his body weight. And then when the chicks hatch, he'll help raise them for about 2 years, and then they go off on their own.
It's the 4 days.
Topping Health Watch this morning, a $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief bill inches closer to passage overnight with an unusual scene on the Senate floor. That as more vaccinations lead to fewer restrictions on businesses in parts of the country. Deborah Alfarone reports from Capitol Hill.
Section 2, Table of Contents.
While most of the country slept, Senate clerks were at work reciting every word of the 628-page COVID relief bill backed by President Biden.
823 and other related activities.
The entire process took nearly 11 hours. Wisconsin Republican Ron Johnson requested the reading.
All I'm trying to do is make this a more deliberative process. Obviously shine the light on this abusive an obscene amount of money.
We Democrats want America to hear what's in the plan.
The bill advanced to the debate stage Thursday without the support of a single GOP senator. Vice President Kamala Harris cast the deciding vote.
And the motion to proceed is agreed to.
Forcing the bill to be read aloud could delay the final vote until this weekend. Meanwhile, many businesses are waking up to fewer and fewer pandemic-related restrictions, and that's thanks in part to ramped-up vaccine distribution. The CDC says over 54 million Americans have received at least one dose of a COVID vaccine.
COVID has not suddenly disappeared. Even though we issue this executive order, doesn't mean COVID is gone. What it means is that we no longer need government
running your lives.
More states are following Texas's lead in easing pandemic restrictions as case totals drop. 16 will have no mask requirement by next week. Public health experts have urged caution, though, saying more contagious new variants could result in another surge. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said yesterday she expects the Senate's version will pass quickly when it's sent back to the House. She said the goal is to have the president sign it before key unemployment benefits expire March 14th. There's been a delay in the release of new CDC guidelines for people who have been vaccinated against the coronavirus. Health officials have been talking about it for weeks, and it was expected last Thursday. But now it's not clear when the much-awaited guidance will become public. Anticipation over new guidance for people who have been vaccinated involved recent comments by top health officials. CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky mentioned it on February 22nd, and then again on Monday. Dr. Anthony Fauci also mentioned the guidelines at that briefing. A new study appears to suggest physical fitness might protect the hearts of COVID-19 patients. Researchers looked at 800 professional athletes who tested positive for the infection. Less than 1% of them developed cardiac injury compared to 7% of the overall population. The studied athletes are professional football, soccer, basketball, baseball, and hockey players. They're also young, averaging only 25 years old, and almost all of them are men. Youth is a known factor in lessening the severity of COVID complications, as is maintaining a healthy weight. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Transition over to the sweeping radar, because that'll give you an idea about how light our rain is compared to what's still happening out to the west. So while we are going to see rain throughout the course of the morning, it's certainly not coming down very hard. Temperatures going to hang where they are all day long. That's going to be low to mid 50s. Breaking the rain after the noon hour, little touch of sunshine before it sets, and temperatures right back into the 60s for Saturday and Sunday.
New details in a police investigation involving a suspicious device found near Pitt State campus. Plus, help is coming to Kansas communities facing high energy bills, and why you may not need an appointment to get the COVID vaccine at Mercy Hospital.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. A chance of rain today, but we've got clear skies coming for the weekend. Here's Michael with a check of our forecast.
Got to get past the cloud cover and the rain first, but like Tanya said, it is going to be gorgeous Saturday and Sunday, and even the rain that we're picking up this morning, certainly not too bad. It's not coming down at a decent clip. As a matter of fact, let's just go ahead and talk sweeping radar, remove the satellite, and the blue indicating some of that's not even able to hit the ground with our dry atmosphere and very, very light rain, if not just sprinkles there in the green, keeping all the heavier stuff off to the west of us there, out of our highlighted counties. 53 in Joplin, 52 in Parsons, 48 in Nevada, and that's about where we'll stay all day long. That's our system. They're working right across the Kansas-Oklahoma state line, everything down to the south right there with Gulf moisture. That'll push toward the Mississippi. This is that Pacific low that worked in off the coast of LA here earlier this week, and now that it's upon us, really not going to amount to anything. We're talking about 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of precipitation, no lightning involved with it, nothing severe, and then clearing off Friday night. But when we do clear off, that's going to put us down close to the freezing mark there for early Saturday morning. Quick little rebound, plenty of sunshine, up into the 60s for Saturday and Sunday, and then a warming trend carries us into next week with thunderstorm activity anticipated on Wednesday and Thursday. Tanya?
All right, sounds like we got a lot ahead of us. Thanks, Michael. Pittsburgh Police Department releases new details about a suspicious device found Wednesday near Pitt State. Pitt State Police found the device on the 1500 block of Joplin Street, and later the Kansas State Highway Patrol's hazardous device unit left with the device. Yesterday, they say they were able to dismantle it and found it contained a small amount of incendiary components. Pieces of the device have been sent to a lab to look for further evidence. Kansas governor signs legislation to provide relief for cities facing high gas bills. Governor Kelly announced on Wednesday a $100 million low-interest loan program created for cities facing high utility bills after February's winter weather. A city it could benefit in a big way is Humboldt, Kansas. Right now, Humboldt faces a $1.6 million natural gas bill. Its normal monthly gas bill is closer to $30,000, so they don't have the money to cover it, and residents would not be able to afford the kind of price hike it would take to pay it.
Pay my $1.6 million bill when I only have $250,000 in reserve, I would be in violation of the law. So this legislation allows us to be legal and have a loan long enough to help us recover.
Herder tells us the Humboldt City Council will have to approve applying for the loan, but that it will be his recommendation. Mercy Hospital is temporarily allowing walk-in appointments for people currently eligible for a COVID-19 vaccine, and that includes people ages 65 and older, people ages 18 and older with health conditions that make them high risk, healthcare workers, first responders, and other emergency personnel. Supply is limited and doses will be given on a first-come, first-served basis. Walk-ins will be accepted today and Saturday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. In some cases, COVID-19 vaccines are causing lymph nodes to swell and misleading some women into thinking they may have breast cancer. The experts at Joplin's Freeman Hospital have encountered this and have some advice. KOAM's Mike Mahoney went to Freeman's Wes and Jan Hauser Women's Pavilion to learn more.
Health experts across the country say a small amount of recipients of the COVID-19 vaccine are experiencing swollen lymph nodes.
We've just seen a few cases, and we've been aware of this. It came to our attention that the vaccine was causing these kind of problems.
The team at Freeman Hospital's Wes and Jan Hauser Women's Pavilion knows that swollen lymph nodes can be a breast cancer indicator. And that's why they are asking women who come to them for mammograms and checkups to let them know if they've received a shot of COVID-19 vaccine.
It's documented onto a history sheet that we put out on every patient, and that way Dr. Cito, our radiologist, then could go back to our history sheet and see that if they've had a vaccine, and that gives her a tip-off that that's what's causing this.
The Society of Breast Imaging recommends women schedule routine breast screenings either before getting their COVID-19 vaccine or 4 to 6 weeks after getting their second shot. But the team at Freeman says as long as you inform them that you have received your vaccine, there shouldn't be a problem. Dr. Alan Buckley, the director of the Women's Pavilion, says, quote, "The main thing is we don't want women to miss their screenings again this year since so many missed last year." And his team wants to assure cancer survivors that just because the vaccine is causing swelling in some cases doesn't mean their concerns will be dismissed.
A patient that already has cancer and maybe has some swollen lymph nodes, sure, we're going to investigate that a little bit more because they've already had an issue. So we don't want to just make light of that and assume that it's a COVID vaccination that has caused it.
In Joplin, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
For the latest information on vaccine resources in the 4-state area, you can visit our COVID-19 vaccine page, KOAMnewsnow.com. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. One woman's powerful story.
One of the women accusing New York Governor Andrew Cuomo of sexual harassment speaks publicly for the first time to CBS News. I'm Deborah Alfarone with why she says she's not buying the governor's apology.
Plus, for our Something to Talk About on the KOAM News Now Facebook page, we're asking, should eBay be allowed to ban content it considers to be insensitive? We'll let you weigh in, but first, 6:37.
Light rain, overcast skies marking our Friday morning. Temperatures in the 50s, so it is quite pleasant outside. Nothing severe. We don't have to worry about lightning or flooding, anything of that nature, because we'll only pick up about 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch here by the time it breaks up during the afternoon hours. A little bit of sunshine later on this afternoon and early evening hours. Cold overnight, back close to freezing, but then up into the 60s with plenty of sunshine for Saturday and Sunday. Take advantage of some fresh air forecast days that are coming up because we do have thunderstorm activity headed our way for the middle of next week with a warming trend. Look at that, 70s for the middle of March. That'll be something else. We'll be right back with Nation Watch next.
Later.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, for the first time, we are hearing publicly from one of the women accusing New York Governor Andrew Cuomo of sexual harassment. Charlotte Bennett shared her powerful story with CBS News anchor and managing editor Nora O'Donnell. Deborah Alfarone reports.
Do you believe that he was propositioning you?
Yes.
For what? Sex.
Charlotte Bennett says while New York was in despair, reeling as the epicenter of the COVID crisis, her boss, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, started asking about her love life and focusing on her history as a sexual assault survivor.
So he goes, "You were raped. You were raped. You were raped and abused and assaulted."
The 25-year-old former aide says on June 5th, he asked her to take dictation, then told her to turn off the recorder.
You've just finished dictation, and the governor is telling you he's lonely and looking for a relationship.
Yes. He asked if I had trouble enjoying being with someone because of my trauma.
Bennett is one of 3 women to accuse Cuomo of sexual harassment. New York's Attorney General Letitia James is now launching an independent investigation. When CBS reached out to the governor for a comment, his office directed us to the governor's apology Wednesday.
I now understand that I acted in a way that made people feel uncomfortable. It was unintentional, and I truly and deeply apologize for it.
Governor Cuomo said in a statement that what he said may have, quote, been misinterpreted. Did you misinterpret him?
No. I understood him loud and clear. It just didn't go the way he planned.
The governor has said he will not step down despite growing calls to do so. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News.
New York's governor is facing major controversy on another front as well. New reports from the Wall Street Journal and New York Times allege some of Cuomo's top aides altered a July 2020 report to undercount the number of nursing home residents who died of COVID. Best time to see Washington, D.C.'s famous cherry blossoms is apparently early next month. This week, the National Park Service announced the peak bloom of the capital's famed cherry blossom trees. NPS predicted it would happen between April 2nd and April 5th. Park Service encourages people to visit the site virtually instead of in person in order to avoid the spread of COVID-19. CDC says more than 16% of Americans have now received at least one COVID vaccine dose, and that the average number of doses administered each day has reached 2 million. California and Maryland now plan to send more vaccines to vulnerable communities to battle inequities. That's a look at today's top national stories. Let's check back in with Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Insta poll asking if you think eBay should be allowed to ban content it considers to be insensitive after it attempts to scrub the sales of 6 Dr. Seuss books. We'll pick back up with Will Batiste, who says, "Seems like I remember a true story of a regime, the Nazis, burning books that would help promote people to think for themselves. It's much harder to control a populace whom is armed and can think for themselves. They have to control what is offensive and what is not, what is wrong and what is not, in order to force their agendas down your gullible throats. Just saying." Philip Aaron says, "I haven't looked at eBay in years. The news just gave them millions of dollars of free advertising over Dr. Seuss books." And John Tribune says, "No, we have a thing called freedom of speech. If you don't like it, don't buy it. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean we don't like it. Grow up." Good morning, KOAM. Good morning, America. And good morning, John. And Michelle Pacini says, "Morning, everyone." Morning, Michelle. "They should check into the original Mother Goose nursery rhymes," Michelle says. "No wonder young children had nightmares." For Michelle, she will always love her green eggs and ham. On the KOAM Insta poll this morning, right now 76% of you saying no, eBay should not be allowed to ban content it considers insensitive. You can make your voice heard. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll come back with birthdays and anniversaries right after this.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Harry Kelly Jr., a member of the United States Navy, serving from 1968 to 1972 during Vietnam. His hometown, Lewisburg, Kansas. We are proud to salute Harry Kelly Jr., our four-state hero.
Our birthday list begins with Xander Level. What an awesome looking hat. Look at that belt buckle he's got too. Xander turning the big number 3. He's in Sheldon.
Absolutely love that picture. Let's see, turning 6 years old this weekend, we got Webb City native Kaiser Clark. Happy birthday, Kaiser.
Hashtag dingers right there. A kid can rake. Cash Carlinger celebrating his 8th birthday. Warmer temps ahead. I love that picture, Cash. Happy birthday in Pittsburgh.
All right. Riot Jackson Benjamin. That's a cool name. Turning 8 years old this year. What a fun pick. Riot is in Galena.
Run out to Girard. That's where we find Ranson Bourne celebrating his 14th birthday. Ranson, have a wonderful day.
Olivia Beard celebrating birthday number 17 this year. What a pretty pick there of Olivia in Columbus.
And in Edna, Shavela Yoakum. Beautiful name right there. Happy birthday to Shavela. And she celebrates 18.
Beautiful name for a beautiful girl. Haley Dryling is 18 years old. I bet we got some senior picks here. Haley is celebrating in Oswego.
Big weekend for Kobe Burchett as he celebrates his 18th birthday in Fort Scott. You may look at that lanyard right there, wonder what's on the bottom of it. Well, it's going to be a state wrestling medal because he won the title for Fort Scott in his weight class last weekend. Happy birthday, Kobe, and congratulations.
All right. Congratulations, Kobe. Happy birthday. And let's see, we've got KOAM sports photographer Zach Brown's very own sister, Maggie. That's a cool picture there. Maggie Brown is 18 in Carl Junction.
Caitlin McNeil cruising in her convertible Camaro right there. That's a real cool picture, Caitlin. She celebrates 25 in Miami.
Let the hair fly. I like it. All right, Tanya Raymond is celebrating birthday number 38 this year. Great picture there, Tanya, in Altoona.
Got a milestone for Crystal Scott. A happy 40th birthday to Miss Crystal. She is in Oswego.
Doesn't look a day over 29. Happy birthday, Crystal. Matthew Wall in Menden Mines, turning 43 years old this year. Happy birthday, Matthew.
Special shout out to someone who is on the front lines during the pandemic. She works in the emergency room at Wilson Medical Center in Neodesha. It's Lisa Chisholm, and a happy birthday to Lisa as well. She turns 54 and is in Benedict.
Happy birthday, Lisa. And happy birthday going out to Krista Crowder, who's celebrating in Carl Junction. Lovely picture there of Krista.
Lisa Sandberg, a happy birthday to Lisa. She will party on in Columbus.
And we have belated birthday wishes going out to Miss Gail Boatman. I have a little story I'd like to share you about Gail. Gail grew up on a homestead farm in Yuma, Colorado. She survived the Spanish flu, Dust Bowl days, the Great Depression, and now the coronavirus. To stay physically fit, Miss Boatman walks and does exercises every day. This year, she is celebrating birthday number 107.
Happy birthday, Miss Boatman. Eric James King, a birthday wish for you in Chanute. Nolan Eichhorn, celebrating 49 in Altamont. And Bill Dobrock, a happy birthday to Bill in the Knack.
All right, Pat White celebrating a birthday in Oswego, Kansas. And belated birthday wishes going to Wilma Stewart in Pittsburgh.
Happy birthday and happy anniversary to all on this 5th of March. I know some of you may be celebrating on the 6th of March as well, so have a marvelous, marvelous weekend. That's where you can send your birthdays into at birthdays with plural, make sure it's got an S, birthdays, at KOAMTV.com, or you can submit them through our website, KOAMNewsNow.com/birthdays. Now, here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club by going to our website and signing up. And once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMNewsNow.com and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
Light rain for our Friday morning. I'm going to go ahead and take off the normal radar, and we're going to put it on the sweeping radar, and here's why. Because that'll give you an idea. Some of that in the blue, unable even to touch the ground. And what we are seeing in the light green, amounting to sprinkles. You got to really push out to the west here to find where it's picking up steam. No lightning, no worry about any flooding concerns as our ground's simply able to handle it. We're only looking at 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of precipitation. Temperatures are just going to range in the mid-50s today. Not really much of a bump up. Eventually breaking for the afternoon and evening hours, and a delightful weekend with temps up into the 60s. We'll be back, wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News right after this. Run through a couple more comments on the KOAM News Now Facebook page. Bob Linda Koch says, I worry about the future of our great country when people are so sensitive about stupid things. Christina Hoffman says, no, you should all continue to publish and sell them, and then she gives her reason why. Philip Delmez, if you owned a business, would you want someone telling you what to sell? Collie McGuire says, this cancel culture movement by trying to erase history is so dangerous and wrong. I guess eBay can do what they want, but my great-grandchildren won't learn a thing about the past that hasn't been sanitized by this cancel culture movement. History is to be studied in all of its good, bad, and ugly, so we can learn from it. Appreciate everyone's engagement on the Facebook page this morning. Final look at our Insta poll. Right now, 76% of you say no, eBay should not be allowed to ban content it considers insensitive. Tanya?
All right, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Mercy Hospital is temporarily allowing walk-in appointments for people currently eligible for a COVID-19 vaccine, and that includes people ages 65 and older, people 18 and older with health conditions that make them high risk, healthcare workers, first responders, and other emergency personnel. Supply is limited, and doses will be given on a first-come, first-served basis. Walk-ins will be accepted today and Saturday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Kansas governor signs legislation to provide relief for cities facing high gas bills. Governor Kelly announced on Wednesday a $100 million low-interest loan program created for cities facing high utility bills after February's winter weather. One city that could benefit in a big way is Humboldt, Kansas. Right now, Humboldt faces a $1.6 million natural gas bill. The city's normal monthly gas bill is closer to $30,000. So it doesn't have the money to cover it, and residents would not be able to afford the kind of price hike it would take to pay it. Pittsburgh Police Department releases new details about a suspicious device found Wednesday near Pittsburgh State University. Pitt State Police found the device on the 1500 block of Joplin Street, and later the Kansas State Highway Patrol's hazardous device unit left with the device. Yesterday, troopers say they were able to dismantle it and found it contained a small amount of incendiary components. Pieces of the device have been sent to a lab to look for further evidence. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
One final look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker with just some light Friday morning rain, the heaviest stuff that will stay off to the west of us. It'll last up until just about noon, a little shortly thereafter it'll break up, and even a little taste of sunshine there for the late afternoon, early evening hours. Cool overnight, dropping down around freezing, but look at Saturday and Sunday. A whole bunch of sunshine and temperatures up to the high 50s and low 60s.
All right, we have a lot coming up in our next hour. All you have to do is switch on over
with us. Were you trying to skip out on me? We were going to say half hour?
I almost did. I almost did.
Now flip on over to us on Fox 14. We're going to continue to roll your Facebook comments, update the KOAM News Now Insta poll, and also Jesse with a trip to a 4-state zoo.
Yeah, something fun to do.
All right, that does it for this edition of the KOAM Morning News. I want you to have a marvelous Friday and a wonderful, wonderful 4-state weekend. We'll do this all again on Monday morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.